Good morning. Today we're going to talk about should you be drinking coffee if you're trying to heal your gut. Now, if you haven't done so already, go sign up for my webinar. I'll share with you everything I did to heal from IBS, Crohn's, and colitis. And it also signs you up for my email newsletter where I pretty much made a book and I didn't want to finish it, so I just threw it all in the email. Cool. All right, coffee. Coffee, coffee, coffee. Coffee gets a bad reputation. It's just when you think about the healthy person, you kind of think like, yeah, they don't drink coffee. And it's also like this common knowledge that coffee gives you diarrhea. And when we start to learn the German New Medicine approach to healing our gut, we're like, okay, I need to manage stress, right? So coffee's a stimulant, right? So I should probably cut back on the coffee. But on the other hand, if I don't have coffee, I'm absolutely miserable, right? What do? I don't know what to do. So, we're going to talk about some things like what should you be adding to your coffee, like cream, butter, black, sugar. Like what's the healthiest thing to add to your coffee? Should we drink tea instead? We're going to talk about that. After watching this video, you are going to know whether you should or you shouldn't be drinking coffee and what you should or shouldn't be adding to it. So, first off, let's talk about what coffee is. Most people don't even know where this delicious drink comes from. So, the story goes, anyways, nobody really knows, that in the African highlands, some guy was grazing his goat, and one day his goats were just flying off the walls. Goats normally do that, even when they're not stimulated. But for this day, they were acting extra crazy. And so he went to go check on them to see what was going on, and he found out that they were eating the berries off of a particular tree. And so he goes and he picks a few of them himself. So coffee comes from a fruit. It comes from a tree. There's little berries. It's almost like a grape. And then inside the grape, you know how grapes have seeds in them? The seeds they're like kind of two coffee beans put together, wrapped inside, a grape. They look like grapes. And so what we do is we roast those beans, and then we grind them, and then we extract the substance of it, with hot water. That's what coffee is. We're extracting whatever is in those beans into hot water and then putting it into us. Beans, seeds, are the most nutrient-dense part of the plant. What do you think has more nutrients in it, the leaf or the beans? It's the beans. If you put grains in front of a cow instead of like hay in front of the cow, what are they going to go after? They're going to go after the grain because it has more nutrients. It has more energy in it. Don't get me started with grass-fed stuff. I got to make a whole nother video about that. It's absolute nonsense. 100% grass-fed, but they can't have grains. Grains are grass. What are you talking about? It's insane not to feed cows grain. They're supposed to eat grain. Yeah, there needs to be a balance, but being 100% grass-fed makes no sense. It's actually very dangerous for a cow, especially if they live in a northern climate where they don't have access to pasture 24/7. And even, I was talking to my grandma yesterday, and, she grew up on a dairy farm, and I guess her father was pretty successful compared to the other dairy farmers because he actually used his head. He would cut the grass before it would go to seed. What does it mean to go to seed? Now, when a grass goes to seed, it takes its seeds and it shoots them off into the pasture so grass can grow next season. So he would cut the grass before it went to seed, which means the grass had kept its seed on the stalk, which means there are a ton more nutrients in the hay that you give to the cows, which makes more nutritious milk. It's all a simple math game. It's all very simple math. It's all common sense. But this video is about coffee. This video is about coffee. What should we... So if coffee is giving you violent symptoms, so for me, coffee was for a little bit, but it wasn't coffee, it was just cappuccinos in particular. Now, I had a breakup where we got in a fight over a Facebook post. She had went on a date with another guy and posted pictures of it, or he did, or I don't remember. Posted pictures of it online, and they went to Le Pain. It's this French bread chain here. They actually a very awesome place. I highly recommend. They do sourdough bread. Like everything's done sourdough there. And in their Facebook pictures, they were drinking this huge cappuccino that like came in a bowl. Like it wasn't in like a normal cup like this. It came in a bowl. And yeah, until I realized that connection, I'm like, oh, I can have coffee, no problem. I can have milk and coffee together, no problem. Cappuccino diarrhea. Man, what is going on here? And then I realized like, oh, and I think I wanted to have a cappuccino. It wasn't like I was drinking the cappuccino and going, oh, I remember her. She was such a jerk. Barely remember her name. I'm totally over it. Don't want to be in a relationship with this person anymore. I don't even think about her when I drink a cappuccino. It was a total subconscious thing. 100% subconscious. So, and just having that realization stopped me from getting diarrhea every time I have a cappuccino. You know, if you are somebody, like let's say you have colitis, right? And you're in a horrible flare. You get sent to the hospital and, you know, your doctor just told you, hey, we're probably going to have to cut this out. We're going to have to cut. You are a zombie for all I can. You're not digesting anything. You're in complete pain. You know, an expert just told you everything's hopeless. Your brain is a mess. It is super malleable, super suggestible. And if you watch a YouTube video or if the doctor catches you drinking coffee and goes, no, oh my God, oh, that's the last thing you want to drink is coffee. Last thing you want to drink is coffee. Put that down. And now the subconscious mind is going to go, well, you know, coffee's crap we need to get rid of. Meanwhile, they're pumping stimulants into your system. Same thing. Literally the same thing. Literally the same thing. Almost. Very close. Oh, don't have coffee. Okay, all right, but we're going to pump you full of stimulants. No logic. No logic in the modern medicine community, in the holistic community. Oh, cream is horrible for you. Okay, let's put butter instead. It's the same. Butter and cream are the same thing. They are literally the same thing. It is silly. That whole bulletproof coffee. Don't put cream in your coffee. Put butter in your coffee. Black coffee is healthier for you. Look, whatever coffee you want to drink, that's up to you. But to make a claim that black coffee is healthier, it makes no sense. Cream, if you don't put cream in milk, if you just give a baby skim milk, they won't make it. That's how they discovered the first set of nutrients, vitamin A. They took the cream out of milk and they're like, oh wow, the baby rats aren't, they're not doing so well. There must be something in the cream that makes them healthy. Okay, we're going to call it vitamin A. That's how they discovered vitamin A. So why wouldn't you want to put that into your coffee? Oh, we're not babies. Oh, I'm Asian. I'm lactose intolerant. Have you ever heard of a Mongol? They 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 have a alcoholic drink that's made out of a dairy. That's how much dairy they consume. And you're trying to tell me they're lactose intolerant and they're dairy intolerant? Oh, I'm African American. I can't have dairy. Somebody told me I'm lactose intolerant. Have you looked at Africa? All the cattle, their languages have words that we don't to describe like cattle. Like I'm like a World of Warcraft dork. You probably don't understand what DPS is, or what's an ad, or what's aggro. I have like all these terms to help me communicate with like what's going on in the game. In African tribes, they have hundreds of words to help them communicate what's going on with a dairy cow and dairying. Like the Swiss went to them, the Swiss, who are highly dependent on dairy, went to them like, when they were discovering Africa, and to learn more about dairy from these African tribesmen. Oh, Malaysia, they have the water buffalo. Everyone can, maybe you can argue the Native Americans, but then at some point they were still consuming human milk. If you just put 1, 2, or 3 teaspoons of milk or cream in your coffee every morning, that adds up. How much vitamin A is that throughout the year if you do that every morning throughout the year? Let's say I add 3 tablespoons of cream to my coffee every single morning, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. It eventually will add up to about around 4 gallons of cream a year. That's a lot of extra vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E, and K2 that I wouldn't have gotten if I would have just drank it black. It adds up. But, whatever you want to mix butter in there and be nauseous the rest of the day, that's your choice. Or if you enjoy it, good for you. You want to put I don't look like putting sweet things in my coffee. I guess I do a little bit because milk is a little bit sweet. You could put honey in there. Honey is fine. Or you could put sugar. But if I were to put sugar in, I would get evaporated cane juice because it would still have the micronutrients in it than, highly processed, just white sugar. But, I guess the moral of this YouTube video is don't waste so much brain power. Like, oh, I can't have this, I can't eat this, I can't. We need to spend, if you haven't, I know most of you guys have it, you found the conflict. Oh, I was fighting with my girlfriend all the time when my gut issues started. Okay, great. You found the conflict, or you didn't even really find the conflict. You're in the right ballpark. What was the conflict shock moment? What was the moment? Was it when you found out, when you went through her phone and you found out she had created a dating profile and was looking to replace you? Was it that moment? Was it the moment you saw her kissing somebody else? What moment? What specific memory made it a conflict? That is very important to know because, that's when we know, oh, was coffee in the room? Was bread in the room? Was she wearing a red shirt? Now I get diarrhea every time I see a girl in a red shirt. My diarrhea is really bad when my girlfriend wears red. I don't know. The tracks they could be anything. But in order to make sense of them, you have to know what the conflict is. And I know most of you are running around and you don't know what the conflict shock is. The brain is trying to avoid it. It's an uncomfortable memory that it wants to forget. But in order for you, the best way to get your IBS, Crohn's, and colitis under control is first to find that conflict shock. When you find that conflict shock, one of the first things I see people do is they go, oh man, that's when it all started? I've been on this dumb diet for 5 years for no reason. And the food phobias go away. You start to eat whatever you want. And then when you get symptoms throughout the day, you're like, oh man, yeah, every time I make a bowl of cereal, that's when I get diarrhea. It's because, when me and my girlfriend were breaking up, she threw plates at my head or a bowl at my head while I was making cereal. And that was a conflict shock. We were talking in the kitchen and she threw a bowl at my head and I barely missed it. That's how we need to start looking at this. Not like, oh, should I put cream or butter in my coffee? Stupid. It's literally dumb to have those thoughts going through your head. Oh, should I put cream or butter in my coffee? They're the same thing. And then you're worried, like, should I get more nutrients into my diet or not? I'm not really sure. It makes no sense. Your brain controls your whole body. If you haven't done so already, go watch my webinar. I go into a lot more nerdy details that you need to know in order to get better. And it comes with the email newsletter where I send you tons and tons of stuff I don't talk about, on my YouTube channel. Yeah, guys, let me know in the comments below, why are you watching this channel? Like, what health issues are you trying to recover from? And most importantly, how do you like your coffee? I like the pour over. Do you like cold brew? I like cold brew too. Iced coffee, not so much. I like cold brew. I like pour over. What is your favorite way to have your coffee? I like to add just a little bit of milk or cream. I don't like adding sugar to my coffee. What way do you like your coffee? All right, guys. Bye-bye.